Um, Welcome everyone. My name is Kyle Foster and I am a staff member with the Oklahoma State Regents for Higher Education. And I am very pleased that you were able to join us for day 3 of the 2019 Oklahoma Learning Innovation Summit. We have a great session lined up for you today. Before we start with our presentation, just a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, if you're not already using your computer audio to watch today, that's what's going to give you the best experience. So definitely, if you can listen through your speakers, that's the best way to do that. Normally, we've been using the Q&A box in the Zoom interface to use our questions, but Gary, our speaker today, is going to talk to you once he gets started about a different way that we're going to use for Q&A today. But if that doesn't work for you for any reason, we do have the Q&A box that I'll be keeping an eye on as well. Today's session, just like all of our sessions in the summit, will be recorded. It'll be posted on the summit website, as well as, if I can get the live streaming to work with Facebook, it'll be archived there as well. The other thing that I wanted to briefly mention before we get started with the presentation are the recipients of our Oklahoma Online Learning Excellence Awards for 2019. We showcase a lot of great things that are going on in Oklahoma during these 2 weeks, and we also want to be sure and recognize all of the work that's going on throughout our state. So our winners of the awards this year for teaching, Don M. Pierce at the University of Central Oklahoma. The Institute for Learning Environment Design, also at UCO, received the Innovation Award, and our Leadership Individual Award goes to Marcy Grant at Southwestern Oklahoma State University. So if you know those folks, be sure to congratulate them on this. They were chosen by their peers for these categories, and we had some fantastic nominations this year, and these folks will be recognized at the April State Regents meeting and presented with these awards. So once again, kudos to them. We are very proud to have them doing great things within the state of Oklahoma. So today's topic is, are your students ready for an online course? And our presenter is Dr. Gary Dotterer, who is the director of the Center for Teaching and Learning at Rogers State University up in Claremore. And with that, Dr. Dotterer, I will pass it all along to you.
Thank you, Kyle. I really appreciate the assistance, and I want to thank everyone for being in attendance today. And as Kyle mentioned, my name is Gary Dotterer. I am the director for the Center for Teaching and Learning at Rogers State University. Take a quick poll out there. Is there anyone in this session from Rhode Island? You can give your hands up for Kyle, and he'll let me know if there was anybody from Rhode Island or Montana. Probably not, but I just had to ask anyway. But no matter where you're from, we want to welcome you to this presentation. I wanted to cover some logistics of this session. We're going to also show you a couple new tools that I just found out about when you're using Google Slides, and that's the media which I'm using today. And one of the items, and I'm going to share my screen so you can take a look at this. And I will get you there. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to move that screen over. And is everyone able to see the screen now? And Kyle, can you give me a heads up if everybody's able to see that?
Yes, it looks like the folks that are responding are giving the affirmative that they can see it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. One of the things that you note when you use Google Slides and you're in presenters mode, there are several tools that you can engage during the presentation. One of these obviously is a pointer, and you can see that. I'm sure most of you knew that that was available. But a new feature that I caught yesterday was this caption. So look at the bottom of your screen, and as I speak, I have a caption tool available down at the bottom of the screen. Now, it's not 100% accurate, but it may be something that'll be useful in the future. And as Kyle mentioned earlier, we're going to deviate from the normal Q&A method of posting in a box, and I'm going to engage this Q&A tool in Google Slides, and I'm going to start this, and what you'll see is a window up above that lists a URL, is somewhat of a URL. It's slides.app.goo.gl/QUH4. And I'm going to place that in the chat feature so that you folks can get to that piece and use it. And let me get down here and engage that tool. There we go. And I'm going to type it in there and make it available. So there's the link you'll put in your browser. It should appear in your chat window. And Kyle, was it available? Did it appear in the chat?
It did.
Good, perfect. So if you have any questions, you can navigate to that semi-URL and you can type a question in and it will appear on my screen, and something interesting will occur and I'll share that with you. So today we're looking at the session called Are Your Students Ready for an Online Course? And with this, the Council for Online Instruction put together a subcommittee in early August, and the group of these individuals got together from across the state, and we saw a need to create what is known as a learner readiness tool. And I'll get more into detail about that in a second, but I want to talk about the objectives that we're going to cover today, and that is define the purpose of a learner readiness tool. We'll look at the name of the components that are used in the Oklahoma LRT, and then at the end or towards the middle of the session, we'll do a hands-on activity where we'll actually navigate to the tool, and then you can begin looking at all the different areas and components within the new learning resource tool. Today, the session type will be a discussion forum. I don't want to really talk the whole time. I kind of want to see what others in the state are doing or commenting on what we have done in creating this tool for the state of Oklahoma. So there'll be a hands-on component where you'll actually navigate through the new LRT tool. The Council for Online Learning Excellence, COLE, is committed to empowering excellence in online and hybrid learning experiences through a framework that grows knowledge, network, and advances collaborative initiatives. And the subcommittee members of the LRT of COLE are Joy Bauer, Brett King, Gwen Rogers, Lisa Restivo, and I've got to get my screen down here for a second, Stephanie Rogers, Kelly Semeski, Gerald Skinner, Erlene Washburn, and Glennae Weisenhunt. And I really wanted to thank them for the time and the effort they put into this the learner readiness tool. We started in early September and it finally went live a few days ago, and we hope that you use this tool. It's for the state of Oklahoma to use at any institution, and as educators, I would like to encourage you to talk amongst your colleagues in your institution about adopting this LRT tool, which we'll kind of define here in a moment. But again, I want to thank those members who were a part of this subcommittee who made this possible. What is a learner readiness tool? A learner readiness tool helps individuals determine if they possess the attributes, skills, and knowledge that contribute to an individual's success in an online course. Some of you may already have a orientation, learner readiness tool, or some type of orientation that incorporates some soft skills. Some of those components that you might find in the LRT are time management skills, organizational skills, technical knowledge, self-motivation, persistence, learning styles and preferences, on-screen reading rate and recall, and of course there are others. Why the Learner Readiness Tool is important. I have several quotes here that I've highlighted the key words within the quote. Lieberman, back in 2017, says that students taking online courses have different needs. I'm not sure if anyone would disagree with that, but we appreciate that. And I do have a question from Jamie. I'm from USAO, and I'm having to use my personal Google address because we don't use Google here. As I understand, this will not work unless your campus is a G Suite campus, correct? Actually, this tool will work with anyone. I had an option to keep it within Rogers State or anyone. And for those out here, here is the second part of what that Q&A tool does. The person can draft their question. There's a separate window that appears, and notice that I have had Jamie's present, and now I can hide that, and notice her question goes away. So this new Google Slide tool allows you to present this to the group in a manner in which everyone can see who posed the question and the actual question, and then you can hide it. I just think it's a really neat feature. But Jamie, I hope that answered your question about the suite and that it's not necessary. Okay, back to Lieberman. We noted that online students who take courses online have different needs. Hertz also agrees and also notes that additional skill sets are needed. And we mentioned some of those with some of the components you might see in a learner readiness tool. Lieberman goes on to say that the orientation will help to refine the self-discipline and time management skills for an individual who takes an online course, who uses an orientation tool such as the Learner Readiness Tool. There is a statement by Haney from the U.S. News and World Report that orientation can give students a sense of what on-learning entails and maybe even help improve class performance. And then finally, Hertz, we believe that digital natives will naturally adapt to online learning. And Kyle and I was talking about that very thing before the session began, that we assume that digital natives, oh, they'll be fine. But what's missing is the soft skills, and they need time management, organizational skills, and communication. So we've incorporated some of these components in the tool that will help your students in the online course and be prepared if it's their first time, or maybe it's someone who needs extra help taking an online course on workspace and environment. There's a component that we included in our tool that helps an individual build a workspace environment in their study area. I now kind of want to see if any of our subcommittee members that we mentioned earlier would like to briefly discuss one of the components they were responsible for and the purpose of why we added that component. Are there any of the subcommittee members out there that would like to take over the microphone for a second and tell us about your experience and why we added those components to the tool?
Okay, the folks that Gary named as panelists earlier, you should now be able to share and speak.
Do I need to stop my share, Kyle?
somebody else can share, and it should just give them a notification that it will stop your share
Okay.
if they want to go ahead and do that.
Okay. I'm putting them on the spot, actually. Okay, anyone out there? Okay. I'm going to move forward, but I wanted to give them an opportunity to do so if they felt like they wanted to talk about their respective component. Okay. We all probably, as educators, have at least taught an online course, or you were an online student. So I have a disclaimer here that the people you're about to see are not actors, but students who enrolled in an online course for the first time. Now, I do want to tell you this may be frightening, so children should probably leave the room. So here's a before the LRT tool, and now after the student reviewed the LRT tool. So we believe this tool, along with LMS orientation, will better serve our students in an online capacity to make them aware of the soft skills necessary to be successful and what the research states out there of how to include these soft skills as part of your normal everyday operation in the preparation and the completion of an online course. I have provided the resources here from the body of work that discussed the purposes of an orientation and how it will benefit students. And I also included a link at the top of the chat room that will take you to this presentation should you want to visit it at a later date. Any questions so far? Everybody okay? Well, we're ready to unveil the Learner Readiness Tool, and I would like for each of you who are out there, if you're on computer, to type in this web address, http://www.onlineexcellence.onenet.net. And I'm going to go ahead and click that link, and you should be able to see the tool. And it's actually on the Oklahoma Online Excellence homepage, and you can click the top link that is noted Learner Readiness Tool, and that will get you to this splash page. So now we've invited the student or the first-time online student to go through the online Learner Readiness Tool. We've highlighted what the purpose of this particular course or tool, and we segmented it out into components that we will cover. We have a area down below that covers a lot of quick links to the different pages within the tool, but most of this is a led navigation structure where the student simply follows the links or buttons at the bottom of each page. So to get started, the student would click on the Learner Readiness Tool, and it will unveil the 6 different areas: time management, reading rate and recall, learning styles, organizational skills, workspace and environment, and technical requirements. Kyle, are you able to see this page?
I am, yes.
Great, great, thank you. So each of the students or individuals can come in and take a look at what each of these areas will cover, and when they're ready, they simply click the Let's Begin button. The subcommittee members broke out into 2 per group. one for each of the components in this tool. The first is time management. We have a scenario and a brief description above of how important it is to have or master time management skills. Our subcommittee members included few time management tips below that the individual can browse through to see exactly how to better their skill set in time management. Once they read through all of the information, they can assess their time management skills by clicking an icon or logo that says assess your time management skills. This will open a Google form in a new window and allow each individual to go through 5 questions related to time management. Once the survey is completed, then they will get some information and feedback about how they did, and then they can go back to the original. I'm going to get through here and click through this. And you can see we talk about workspace. I'm going to select one. What is the recommended tool to keep you up with deadlines in your online course? We have selections for them. And then creating a distraction-free workplace is important because of, and then the student would submit that document, and then they can view their scores. And then there's feedback below that will help them gain more skill sets should they need any assistance in that area. Okay, now I'm going to go back to our tool here, and we will show the resources that are below that we encourage students to view after they take the survey, so that will help them gain more time management skills. Once the student has finished the time management component, they can click next, and then we hit the reading, rate, and recall. The subcommittee members found a speed reading test that a student can simply click on and test their speed reading skills. There is a reading and comprehension test that measures their reading and comprehension. And we felt that these tools were very important to add as part of the reading, rate, and recall. We have included tips, what you shouldn't do or what you should do as you're honing in those specific skills. We also have an infographic over here that the student can click on, and they can download it and of course make it larger, and they'd be able to use that as a key guide to enhancing their reading, rate, and recall. We have another assessment for students to talk about their reading, rate, and recall. And I won't click on this one, it's another Google form. There are 5 to 10 questions on this particular survey that will assist those students as well. Once they review their scores and receive feedback, we have other general reading improvement links that the students can review and gain some more skill sets in reading, rate, and recall. Our next component, by clicking next, is learning styles and preferences. We have Dr. Hugh Foley from Rogers State University who created and assisted us and created this video, and I want to play a bit of it because it's part of the media that the students can interact with.
Hi, my name is Hugh Foley. I'm a professor of fine arts at Rogers State University in Claremore, Oklahoma, and I've been teaching online for over 20 years. And one of the things that we know is key to student success is for students to determine their learning preferences. Learning preferences guide students about how they prefer to receive information. By knowing one's preferences, they can better align their study habits with their preferred mode of receiving information. With such understanding, beneficial results are numerous.
So what we tried to do with this tool was include textual information, media, some piece of engagement where the students can self-identify their specific skill sets, and then provide feedback and then resources to help them better understand their learning styles or preferences. So the goal with this tool was to include every modality possible that would help and enhance each of our learners' preferences. As we all know, most of them are out there on a deserted island when they're taking an online course, and any time that we can make an assignment or any type of activity engaging, whether it be with other students or with the instructor, we've kind of tightened that distance between the student and all of the other colleagues and the professor. So we tried to include media for each of those. In the videos, we've included a transcript that individuals who need a transcript can simply click on that and follow along. We've also included the specifics on the amount of time the video is running and what type of quality the video. So here is the learning styles and preferences, and then we actually click on the visual oral read write tool, which is known as the VARK tool. And this is a visual oral read write kinesthetic that tells you something about yourself that you may not know, and it actually defines the preferences in which you want to receive information. So students who use this tool will be able to identify what is my preferred mode of receiving content. So this is a page that we felt that was going to be very important to our students. Our next component is organizational skills. Again, we have an initial description, a general overview of organizational skills. We've included 10 tips that they can use. We have a video here about planning and organizing. And then we've included an assessment on their organizational skills. You're starting to see a theme here from this tool. They'll be able to receive feedback and then use the resources that we've provided to further enhance their organizational skills. I'm going to click the next button again. Our next important component is workspace and environment. We found a nice video that really discusses in length the importance of having a workspace and environment. We've included, again, the general information about why it's important. And then we've included 4 key elements of a successful workspace. We do not have an assessment on this particular piece, but we felt it was important to provide resources that give them other ways to improve their study habits or create an environment that's conducive to study. Our final component is the technical requirements. Across the state, there are multiple platforms. And at this point, we have created subpages for Blackboard LMS, Canvas, D2L, Genzabar eLearning, and Moodle. If your particular LMS is not listed here that you use at your institution, please send me an email and we will make sure and we'll add that LMS to this particular site. Now here's the cool thing about this site. Again, we explain the importance of knowing what type of equipment you are going to use to access your online course, but we've included specifics. Let's go to Canvas. When we open this page, we talk about the minimum technical specifications. We've talked about using the different tools that we've embedded, and we've included these accordion type text boxes, and when engaged, it expands and gives them specific information about the type of internet connection, what type of speed is the minimum speed for using Canvas, and then a tool for the student to actually measure their internet speed. So they simply start the speed test. Most of you have probably already used this tool before, but I thought it was ingenious that that was added as part of this learner readiness tool. The student can go down to the hardware requirements, expand that screen. We've added information about the hardware, processor, RAM, storage, all of the specifics and peripherals that one would need for an online course. We've also included software requirements. There's a system check for different tools. Canvas did not have one. There might be one out there that we'd like to add to this, but we couldn't find one. But we included the different operating systems, the different the updates and how a student would update their current operating system, whether it be a Windows-based machine or a Mac device. We've discussed the browsers and requirements below, and we've included URLs for those students to look at their respective browser versions and be able to update to the latest and greatest version. It also goes through plugins, application software, and then an important key feature, which most of you will probably already have in place, is a navigating your learning management system. So we have a little key tidbits on communication, using discussion boards, how to communicate via email, elements that might be in your LMS that you use with a phone, of course, netiquette, announcement or news, assignments, and how to check grades. There's a troubleshooting area for the students on how to go through the troubleshooting process and getting a hold of someone that can actually assist them. And then finally, we talk about assistive technology specifications. And down below, we talk about video and audio resources, the different screen readers, different accessibility tools with Apple and Microsoft. And we also have provided other tools. There's 15 assistive technology tools for students under the resources area. So we have done this for each of the learning management systems. So simply the student would find their learning management system used at the institution. They simply click on the link and they'll be able to see the specific needs and minimum technical specifications for their hardware. We've also included printable versions that are accessible so that individuals who cannot actuate these toggles or these expand buttons have a printable version of the specifications for them to use. I'm going to click the back key, and then as the technical requirements is our last page in the tool, we simply, the student would go to the home page. And I do want to note that on the organizational skills, there is an extra set of 10 organizational skills that a student can look at and that they can work through. And this is an extra link found on the organizational skills page. I didn't click through that when we hit that page, but this is a sub page that talked about all of that information associated with the organizational skills. Finally, there was a set of information that came through on vocabulary. A lot of our students may not know the specifics about hardware and software within their computer. They would be able to use that vocabulary page when we get that up and running, but we think it will also help the students who may not be familiar with all of the hardware that's required. At this point, I am open for any questions. This was our last little piece of this particular session, the show and tell and the unveiling of this new tool. And we know that this is a living website that will constantly evolve. And for those out there, we'd like for you to send in any of your suggestions that we could expand on this tool to further enhance our students' soft skills and help them to be successful.
First name, please.
So are there any questions out there from the audience?
I need the spelling of your first name, please.
So if anyone does have any questions, you can use the Q&A link that Gary indicated at the beginning, or failing that, if you're having some kind of issue where you can't use that, you can also use the Q&A box on Zoom, and we'll take a look at those as well. So yeah, go ahead and ask those questions. I can start with a question. Gary, how would you envision someone fitting this into their enrollment process of online courses? What stage do you think that this would come into play?
I think it's very important up front that I don't want to state the words require, but we would encourage any students new to higher ed or to college to go through the tool, whether it's online or not. Soft skills are very important, whether they're on ground, blended, or an online environment. And I would encourage any of our registrar's office to encourage the students up front to work with this tool and go through the process to see how they can enhance their skills. I would just do it right up front.
I'm more than happy to look at this and
Okay, great.
If you've got just a few
And it does look like we have a question on your Google Q&A page.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to help you. I just can't.
Let me get to that tool here.
We're a two-person department. The other person's putting on the webinar.
Get rid of these extra screens quickly because my...
Well, it sounds like I just need to show you how to navigate into where you need to go. There's nothing that indicates you.
What's interesting, Kyle, is I'm not able to pull that question over. I think I'm missing it.
Give me your phone.
Okay, well, that's not a big deal. I can just read it. It says, any plans for a reminder that could refresh a student's recall of this useful information after they completed the course?
I will.
That's a great question.
Bye-bye.
We haven't really got that far, but I think it would be a opportunity for us to remind the institutions about the tool where they could convey that information on to the students so that they can refresh through this tool. And I hope that answers that question. We could work up a way through Cole to send out reminders on a semester basis that to include this learner readiness tool in all of their information to the students at the beginning of the semester.
Okay. Another question that I think some folks might have is if an institution did decide to require this, is there any kind of tracking mechanism that's within the tool that they could use to see who's completed it remotely, or is that something that institutions would need to think about?
That at this time, the students or the institutions would need to think about that. If the students who go through the learner readiness tool actually use the surveys and submit their self-efficacy on the respective areas and skill sets, it would register it there. But it wouldn't probably give a true accurate who has visited the site and used it, because if they didn't engage that server or that survey, there wouldn't be a way to record who's been through the tool itself. So I think at this time it might have to be at an institutional level.
Okay, great. And then we have a question from the chat area that says, would the LRT be provided within one downloadable link?
Can you repeat that, Kyle, for me?
Sure. Would the LRT be provided within one downloadable link?
Yes, it can be. And let me actually take this link and put it in the chat area. And that is a straight shot to the tool itself. Let me go back to our chat. And I pasted it in there. So hopefully you'll see that, but that'll take you straight to the tool and bypass the Oklahoma Online Excellence. I didn't say that, Dr. Dodd. And let's see, I have another individual who commented. Let me get back to that. And someone posted this. So did this person posting this, did it not reset? Okay, if you posted that, let me know if that's what you have mentioned here. And then Randy. Okay, Randy, can this content be exported as SCORM so that we could use the content within an LMS? If not, could we consider building it in something like SoftChalk so that we could embed the LRT into a course and even use a gradebook item to score completion? Great idea, Randy. I don't see why we couldn't do that. I think it would be a great idea to put it in the SCORM package and provide that. And then we also have a web-based as well. And so if faculty members were going to give extra credit or a score point on that, I think that's an excellent idea. We should look into that. Thank you. That's a good suggestion, sir. Okay. They did state that correct the reading test did not reset. Okay. I will work with our team and I'll get back with the group, or I'll get with Kyle and we'll talk about what we found about that reading tool and why it didn't reset. So thank you for letting us know about that. We have another one from Alan White. My previous institution, we awarded a badge to students who completed the readiness course. That reinforced the student and allowed instructors to see their completion when they enrolled in either an online or blended course. Alan, that's a great idea. I think that would be something we could incorporate at each institution. Being able to recognize through an award system such as a badge that these students have completed this, because it's very important to have these soft skills when taking an online course. Great suggestion, Alan. Thank you. Other questions, thoughts, comments? Here at Rogers State, we did not have a tool such as this one, and I think it's going to enhance all of our students and their ability to be more successful. And I hope that if you currently have this at your institution, you could share with us success stories. And if you currently do not have access to a tool such as this is why COLE was formed, to have a statewide opportunity for individuals to come together and put together tools, resources, and other elements that individuals would use in an online course to help our students be more successful and eliminate costs that are associated with online education. So we see it as a blessing here at Rogers State. I can't wait to unveil it at the institution itself, but we feel it's going to be very helpful to all of our students as well. Okay, Randy, great. Thank you so much. Randy said great tool, also very timely for us as we are looking at implementing a requirement for readiness assessment. Excellent, Randy. Thank you, sir. I hope it'll be beneficial. And I know, as I stated earlier, this is a living website where we will continue to evolve and add more components that'll be helpful to the students. So please let us know how we can better enhance this tool for everyone at each institution in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay. Well, we do have a few minutes left in case anybody is typing a question, but as we're waiting, I would just like to thank Gary and the team that worked on this. They put in a lot of work to develop this learner readiness tool. Excuse me. And just like with all of the projects that Cole does, they weren't compensated for it. It was a volunteer project, and that just it's so in the spirit of the things that Cole has done over the past few years. People putting in lots of hard work to improve online learning throughout Oklahoma. So thank you, Gary and team, for putting in so much hard work on this. And I think this is something that any institution in Oklahoma and you know, even outside, if they come in and start using it, could benefit from. So we definitely want to get the word out about this and make sure that people know that this is available at no cost to institutions. This is the type of thing that if you you know, bought it from a company, it would cost you a pretty penny. And fortunately, because we have dedicated people that were willing to do this, our institutions have it available at no cost to either institutions or students. You know, sometimes students end up bearing the cost of this. So once again, a couple more minutes in case anybody's typing a question, but I hope that everyone who's here today will join us back here for the continuation of the summit on Monday at 9 a.m. for a presentation by Rob Carr from Able Tech on accessibility across higher education. Some of you may have been in Rob's face-to-face workshops that were conducted during this last academic year. We had great turnout at those, and I attended several of them, and I can guarantee you that you will learn something that you didn't know that will benefit your students, that will increase the accessibility of your courses, and that is just generally handy to know. So 9 a.m. on Monday, the link for that to register for the webinar is at the same place that this one was on the Summit website, online learning or onlineexcellence.onenet.net, also the home of the Learner Readiness Tool. So please be sure and register for that. Once again, this webinar has been recorded and will be posted on the same website under the What's New section. So keep an eye out for that, and be sure to share with anyone who you think could benefit from this. I know sometimes with live webinars, schedules just conflict and folks can't be there for things that they would like to be able to see. But these are all recorded, so if this is something that you think would be of interest to one of your colleagues, you know, shoot them an email with the link, let them know that this is available, and we'll make sure that as many people as possible benefit from Gary's presentation. So with that, it looks like we don't have any more open questions. Gary, did you have any closing thoughts?
We just encourage everyone to use the tool and let us know, give us feedback. And my email address is gdotterer, DOTTERER @rsu.edu, and I'll put that in the chat quickly. And we'd love to hear from you, and if you have any ideas on how we can advance or enhance, please let us know and we'll try to add those components. Thank you all again for your attendance today, and we hope this tool will be very beneficial for all of your students and your institution. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
All right, great. Thank you, Gary, and thanks everyone for attending, and hopefully we will see all of you on Monday.
Wonderful.